and we're back with another J.STREET podcast. It's your boy Dave CO Coles. So in this podcast right here, I want to introduce everybody to me. I'll go back, down memory lane to my formidable years as me growing up, and this might be a two-parter. But for those that don't know, um, my name is Dave Coles Jr. Born July 24th, Big Leo gang. Born to Stacy Turner and David Coles, of course, Sr. Um, Growing up, my parents wasn't together. Let's keep it honest. That's what I do here. My dad paid 3 times to get an abortion to get rid of me, but I'm still here. I've been dodging bullets for a long time. Um, I'm their second child. My older sister Deidre is about 2.5 years older than me, so they already had a child. They already had a child together before I came along. So they already went through their rough patches, and my dad didn't think that they could have another kid together. So that's why he paid for it 3 times. But shout out to my mom. She took that money and ran off. She ran off on the plug. um, but he told me that later on in life. My dad was an honest book. He didn't hold back anything. But back to me, which always has him involved in my mom. So when I was born, I went to my mom first, and I was with my mom's mom, Rosa Mae Turner. This is where I get my love of Candy, of Ninja Turtles, and Batman because of that woman in wrestling. As I talked about before in my previous podcast, that side of the family was wrestling heavy. But my grandmother, I always say I'm the favorite. I'm always say that. I was a grandchild that stayed in the room with her, had my own bed, slept on a smaller bed next to her, my grandfather's bed. Um, she treated me like I was hers, and everybody said that. Um, got my fair share of trouble, but still, um, she held me tight, as everybody said. She held me real close, and I appreciate my grandmother for that because still to this day, I think about her. I love her. She was like my second tattoo, if I'm not mistaken. That I got tattooed. I got her name tattooed on me. I miss her a lot. But yeah, so she grabbed me when I was younger. My mom was going through her demons at the time, so the best thing was me to be was with my grandmother because of my mom. But I still see my mom. Like, I don't care. I don't know how other people is when they go through their demons. My mom went through her demons, and she still seen me and my sister. She lived there with my grandmother as well. So her and my sister actually had a room together. But my mom was going through hard times, at that time in her life. So as I say that because my mom always was a figure in my life. She never went missing except for, I get to the story. But yeah, so I was with my grandmother. Me and my sister lived with my grandmother, Rosa Mae, pretty much until I turned 6. She passed away in like August that year. Remember that day like it was yesterday. My grandfather passed a year before that, mind you. And then literally almost a year to the day, she passed away. She died in her sleep in the bed. I was in my little bed like always next to her, and everybody came rushing in, and I didn't quite understand right away till they sat me down. They told me she passed away, and then as I got older, she passed away from cancer. But now that I'm older now and I have a wife, she died of a broken heart. She missed my grandfather. That's my belief, and that's what I'm going with. But yeah, so around that age, I went with my dad. My dad got me and my sister full custody of me and my sister. My mom was still going through her demons, and that's where I believe my mom. Shout out to my mom because she knew she wasn't in the right state of mind to raise two kids at that time in her life. So naturally, us going with my father was the best thing for me and my sister at the time. And to my dad credit, he never kept us away from my mom. He never. My pop didn't say nothing bad about my mom. My dad didn't say anything good or bad. He didn't say nothing about her. So when people say stuff like, you know how you hear parents talk down about their baby mom, my dad didn't say nothing. Now he spoke the truth if we asked him questions, but he didn't go out and bash my mother in no type of way. So shout out to my dad for that because he never did that in no type of way, and he never kept us away from my mom's side of the family. So that's why I still had relationships with my aunt Boo Boo, my aunt Sheila, my aunt Eva, my aunt Diane, my uncles, and of course their kids. Naturally, my cousins. I had great relationships with them still because even though my dad had custody of us, he didn't keep us away from our family. Luckily, my Boo Boo took over my grandmother's house, so it was literally still right up the street on J Street for me. So I would still be right up the street with my cousins KJ, Boot, Far, she, Donnie would be there too. Um, so we all was still, we were still a close family, even though I lived with my dad at the time. Um, yeah, that was still so. Shout out to my dad for that. Like he never kept us away from my mom, and my mom, and to her, she even though she was going through her battling, she still would come see us. Meaning we would be either at my aunt Boo Boo house or chilling up there with our cousins. I see my mom, she'd come down there, she'd see us. Or if my mom didn't see us for a while, she wouldn't necessarily go find my dad, but she would go to my grandparents' house and tell my grandmother Coles, my grandma Coles, that she hasn't seen us in a while and she wants to see us. So of course, naturally, with my dad cutting hair on Thursdays and you know us being in the neighborhood because we did move at one point, but us being in the neighborhood and stuff, I would the message would get seen, go see your mom. So my mom was always a staple in my life. So I can't never say that my mom. I don't care what she went through. She seen her kids and she had a relationship with us still to this day. I love my mom. She's going through a lot still, not demon wise, but my mom got a sickness and she's slowly recovering and I can't wait for her to get back better. So that relationship of me and her smiling, laughing, can continue to go on because losing my dad, naturally I'm gonna get closer to my mom. And then when my mom got sick or her illness, it put me in like a weird position of not having a parent that I can truly attach to. But in the same respect to my in-laws, which I don't like calling them that, but to my other mom and dad, um, I know they can never fill the shoes, but they do a damn good job. So I'm blessed to have them in my life, and of course, to to my stepmother, I love you too. But so back to my former years. Like I said, so growing up, I always had my parents, like my mom and my dad. Like I said, even though they're separated, I still had them. Of course, I had my grandparents as being our rock in our situations. Younger, all the way up to sixth grade, my mom, and then all the way until my grandmother and my grandfather passed, which I was older then. So I always had that connection. Like I said, me and Matt, me, Marissa, stuff like that. So my cousins and stuff, we always had a great bond with each other. But as I'm going through school. Um, they diagnosed me with ADHD. Um, I was a very how do I want to say it? I was a very angry child. I had a lot of I was quick tempered. Um, some people say that's because that's a Leo in me. I get it from my dad as well. Quick tempered, high headed. I remember in school throwing a desk at a teacher. I threw the desk at a teacher because she knew I had a strict parent, meaning my dad, and anything I would do in school, she would say, "I'm gonna call your dad. I'm gonna call your dad." So I think this day I was just fed up. Like, well, if you're gonna call him, it's gonna be for a real reason why you're gonna call him today. And I picked the desk up and I threw it at her. I threw it at her without throwing it at her, meaning I could have hit the woman with the desk, but I knew I wasn't going to. I just did it to scare her. And, put me on Ritalin and all that type of stuff. I was hyper and, um, that was just some of the things that, I'm going through as a young man growing up. But luckily I found the love for football. Football was a way for me to get my pent up frustration out. I played football from the age of 6 to 18, pretty much. Um, and then I started forming in my circle, my friends, which are now families and I consider brothers. Of course, y'all know about the Ameses. Everybody know how Coles and the Ameses are. Tight family. That's my family, regardless. But I want to shine a little light on the Capers. Sheik, my bro. I met him. He moved on the neighborhood on the block. Um, he fit right on in with us. Uh, we went to Warner Elementary. I'm gonna touch on this story right quick because this story right here is crazy. So me and Sheik was in school together, and yes, this is the school where I also threw the chair at the teacher. But this was later. That was later on in the year. But early in the year, me and Sheik were just terrorizing the school. It was just us two. We was thick as thieves and having fun. I wonder if Sheik remembered this story, but of course I'm sure he remembered because he broke his arm. But Sheik was me and Sheik was doing something. I don't know exactly what the hell we was doing. We were doing something. But if anybody ever been to Warner, it's 3 sets of staircases in the school. You got the two ends and the one in the middle over top of that nice ass library that was there. So me and Sheik, I think we on the 3rd floor, and we running from the teachers. We did something. We running. Now Sheik is skinnier than me. He a little fella. I always been stocky and big. So he clearing the staircases. He's jumping. I'm jumping maybe 2, 3 steps. You know what I mean? I ain't jumping the whole staircase like he was. And you know how like the staircase got the center part, like where all the pipes is and stuff like that. His arm gets caught in it. Boom, broke his arm. Now, mind you, he's ahead of me. Like I said, because he's jumping whole staircases. I'm like, bro, you crazy. Um, so I heard him say, ah. So I'm, of course, like I said, I'm not sure I'm behind him. So I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you? So he pulled his arm out. Boom. Now, mind you, like I said, we got teachers chasing us for the dumb shit we did upstairs on the 3rd floor. And I don't know if you remember this part, but nah, cuz, go ahead, man. Keep on going. Fuck them teachers. We gonna keep on running. Yo, he was so like she always been that nigga dog to me, bro. Like I swear, man. Oh man, I swear that was just so crazy. But that was just a little story between me and Sheik right there. Like one of our first crazy stories we ever did something crazy in school. He broke his arm, and he ran to the nurse's station, and I kept running. Like just wild shit that me and him used to do, especially at that school. But to that, I end up, I didn't like my dad for this right here. It's one of the first times me and my dad, and I was young. I didn't care because I was mad at him. He held me back. So the 3rd grade year, I had probably the most incidents I ever had in school ever was my 3rd grade year. Like I said, I threw the desk at the teacher. They diagnosed me with ADHD. Me and Sheik was running, terrorizing the school, and so the school wanted to just assign me to the next grade. Put him in 4th grade. Fuck it. Pop was like, no. Pop held me back, and to and to him, he didn't keep me in the same school. So he ended up moving me. We ended up moving out, out the city. Put me in another school. God works in mysterious ways. I'm sitting in class one day, and it's the first day of the new school, so I'm in third grade again. I repeated third grade. Me repeating third grade put me in a class with Dane. If anybody know, the other part of the three amigos is Dane. Sitting in class with him, and we're next to each other. We're literally next to each other by alphabetical last name and shit. So our names are close to each other. So boom, me and Dame sat next to each other. So naturally, I'm like, "What's up?" He like, "What's up?" Me, I'm talking and talking and talking. So he has the same last names, of course, as my other two cousins, KJ and Boot. So naturally, I'm just talking to him. You know, we in this predominantly white school, and me and Dame is pretty much it's me and like three other black people in there. So we're going to naturally gravitate to each other. So, but as we got to talking, we realized that, he said he had a cousin named KJ and Boot. I'm like, I got a cousin named KJ and Boot. He's like, I got an Aunt Sheila. I'm like, I got an Aunt Sheila. I got an Uncle Kurt, too. I got an Uncle Kurt. So naturally, we put it together. Oh, shit, we cousins. And that was the start of my circle right there. Them two. Outside of course, the Ames, like I said. But outside of them, Sheik and Dame came along. And then come to find out, them two god brothers, their moms are like sisters. I'm like, yo, the world is small as hell. But that was the start of my circle right there. Me growing up outside of my family, because I always had my family. But outside of my family, me building my own identity outside of my family, even though Dame is my cousin, crazy, but they know it like that. So, man, Dame, we did third grade together. That was Dame's natural grade. Meanwhile, she, moved on to the fourth grade. Boom. Uh, like I said, I was living in town at the time, but I still would come in town, of course, to play football. So I would still see Sheik. I'm still going to my grandparents' house on Jefferson. So me and Sheik still, we still had our bond. And then when we figured out that Dame and Sheik knew each other, and then, he knew me, naturally it was all three of us. All three of us. And my dad nicknamed us the Three Amigos. And that was just us, you know what I'm saying? Growing up, it was some of the best times, us three. And then adding Shannon, Leroy, um, Ish, and all of them, like all of us just being together, just running around having fun. And then naturally integrating my mom's side of the family in with us and stuff like that. She had a good relationship with my cousin KJ, um, stuff like that, It was just great. Growing up was just great. It was just us. It was all us. You know what I'm saying? Like together as us. Then we go. Then we go to Marion T. Um, for the people that know what that school is, you know what it is. If you don't, you don't. But me, Dame, and Sheik end up in Marion T together. From what was it, from fifth grade to eighth grade, something like that. I think it was fifth to eighth. A lot of fun. A lot of fun in that school. Uh, it was us three. So no matter what, everybody had to gravitate towards us. And I don't mean that in no type of way, meaning because we knew each other already. So, we already naturally known each other. So, everybody wanted to know, and plus all three of us is different. All three of us are different. We're the same, but we're different. I mean, me and Sheik are Leos. Dame is I don't know these damn signs. But shout out to Dame, his birthday come up anyway. April 19th. But we got a Taurus, I think. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, so we all went to Marion T together from fifth grade to eighth grade. Shout out to Marion T. Taught us a lot of different things, but ain't teach us a lot of schoolwork. We learned a lot without learning a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, it helped formed us to what we become later on, moving on in life. But as all that is going on, I'm dealing with stuff, with my mom. Uh, by then, my dad left his partner that he was with at the time. We moved back to my grandparents' house. We was there for maybe a year, and then my dad ended up buying his first house. Well, second house technically. But buying a house for me and my sister. We had our own house at the time, which was right down the street from my grandparents' house. So that was super dope. And then at this time, my mom got locked up. So my mom, this sounds crazy, but it's all facts. My mom was actually going back and forth to Jamaica, which I just came back from my vacation. Bringing back drugs. So my mom was a drug mule. Um, and my mom was having all this money, and she was hitting me and my sister off with money, and she would leave. Like she did it about like 7, 8 times. I think, yeah, the eighth or ninth time she got caught. So I never forget it. I was in middle school. Yeah, I was in middle school, and my sister, of course, was in high school, and we got the call that our mom got locked up, and it was crazy. Um, her being locked up. My mom was locked up for 4.5 years, 3.5 years, 3.5 years. Yeah, she came home. I was playing football. I was in tenth grade. Yeah, so I think she went in when I was in seventh grade. Yeah, so yeah, she came home when I was in like 10th grade. But my sister probably took it harder than me at the time. Um, I let her tell her side of the story, but I took it hard pretty well too, cause that's my mom. At the end of the day, and I wasn't a big writer or nothing like that, so I didn't write my mom letters. My mom would tell you, I probably wrote her 3 letters when she was in jail for them 3 years. I couldn't sit down and write a letter. I couldn't put my thoughts together on a piece of paper to write her a letter at the time. So always, when she called, we talked to her on the phone. My dad didn't care about it. He didn't care about, the bill, all that. He accepted, told us to select. My dad told us to take the collect calls when she called. My dad, see, that's why I say my dad's a real man, because he could have been like, y'all not running up my phone bill talking to her. She locked up, blase, blase. But he didn't do that. I swear, my dad never done nothing like this. Period. My dad was okay. Your mom's locked up. You still gotta have a relationship with her and writing the letters. Yeah, David, I know you ain't doing that. My sister probably wrote them more than I did. Um, but talking on the phone, I was cool with it. So I had a relationship with my mom. Talking on the phone, we went to go see her one time, and I did not want to go, but we did go one time. And the crazy part is, I remember a lot of shit, but I don't remember it. Like I don't remember it at all. Going to go visit her while she was locked up, and she was up in the Poconos. She was up in the mountains too. Um, just going through that was a very a very trying time for me, because just because I wasn't a mommy's boy like on the outside, I was in the inside, because like my mom always been that person for me. I mean, but as I'm growing up, my dad, I started to really attach to my dad. I always been on my dad's hip, but I always also would go, what I mean, be a mommy's boy. And at that time, when I'm in, seventh, eighth grade, of course I'm growing up, so I'm being more of a, with my dad. I'm with my dad. I'm with my pop. You know what I mean? So me and my pop relationship got super close. Like that's my best friend. Everybody knows that's my right hand man. Like so, but I didn't have my mom. Shout out to my stepmom. Uh, she came into the picture. Well, she been there since my dad got the house in '99, but she really came into the picture like to me like oh two. Like she always been around, but I'm talking about when I started to really like connect, and have a true bond with her. It was like 01, 02. Then my little sister Kayla, of course, was right there. And my stepmom never tried to take my mom's spot ever. She never tried to. Um, I was the one that called her mom first. She didn't call me son first. I called her mom first. And when I did it, my dad didn't tell me to do it or nothing like that. None of that funny shit. I just did it because that was the bond I was having with her. It was me and her was doing stuff. She was doing stuff for us. She was taking care of us. She was cooking. She was cleaning the house. She was, you know what I mean? She would jump on our ass when we did wrong. So naturally, I was gonna, that's a mother figure, and my dad is with her. So I mean, I just called her mom one day, and it stuck ever since. So, but like I said, she never tried to take my mom's spot ever. Um, my sister, girls are different, so they had their battles, but whatever. But as I'm going through them years, and my dad is, the sole provider for us and taking care of us, my dad still never took us away from my mom's side of the family. I can go stay at Kylie house at this time, my Aunt Eva house, Donnie, uh, anybody else, Shay. Shay was the big, everybody loved Shay house. Shay was the fun house. Everybody, wanted to be there with Shay. But that was just my dad being a good man and not tearing us away from my mom's side of the family. Because if he could have, honestly, but my dad never was like that. He set his boundaries on things, but nothing to a point where I couldn't be around my family. Period. And then as we get older, you see stuff for what it is, and your parents tell you things and stuff like that. So I'm going through that type of stuff. I'm dealing with me and my educational issues, as they say I had in school. I was playing the system. My dad knew it, but my dad always told me, "I want you to be better than me. Find your purpose, take care of what you have to do, but be better than me. Because if you ain't gonna be no better than me, you shouldn't be here." And that's the nice way he said it. um. So now as I'm getting older, and I'm about to be 36 this year, I can see me on focusing on finding my way even better and being a better man. I say I'm a better man than him because he's the GOAT for a reason, but starting to fill his shoes and understand all them talks. And y'all hear about some of them talks as this podcast continue. Um, some of them life lessons that he talked to me about. Some of the best things that I can remember in life. And just knowing that my dad never wanted to tear us away from our family. Never. Even to the point that when my dad passed away, all my cousins, all of them, on my mom's side, called my dad Uncle Dave, showed up to the funeral. Not just for me and my sister, showed up because of the respect and the love that they have for my dad. Because they can see my dad outside on the block and Uncle Dave, Uncle Dave. Mind you, my mom and dad never got married. Was together for a long time, but never got married. And for them to still, out of respect, call my dad Uncle Dave. That's the love that my dad had with my mom's side of the family. My Eva called him brother. My Boo Boo, all of them. It wasn't no fake genuineness when it came to my father and my father when it comes to my father when it comes to my mom's side of the family. Just wasn't. And I know I'm bouncing around talk about me and adding my dad into this, but it all intertwines together at the same time. But yeah. So back to my mom. So my mom comes home maybe when I'm in 10th grade, I think. Yeah, she comes home when I'm in 10th grade. Yeah, because she came to see me and her godsons, D Rob and Chris, play football. That was super dope. My aunt Rochelle, my godmom, and then my mom slipped up and she went back. And she went back right when my sister was getting ready to go to prom. I never forget it. My sister took this so hard. My sister always wanted my mom to be there with her for prom. My mom getting a violation of probation and had to go back for like 6 months, I think. So at this time, it's me. I'm just playing football in school, enjoying life, the little things. Then my mom comes home, and this was a time where she came home for good. She kept herself together, went through the probation situation, didn't violate or nothing. So boom, my mom was home. But my mom was living in Philadelphia at this time. So naturally, we gonna learn how to get up there. So start taking the trains, because everybody wasn't gonna keep driving us up there. So we had to learn how to take the trains up to Philly, the R2, then get off at the gallery. Cause my mom used to work security up there at the parking garage. So we get off, walk over, be with her to the end of her shift. Then she started teaching us how to, takes the L home. Like my mom was just teaching us that stuff like that. And my mom come home. Like I said, I'm in 10th, 11th grade. Yeah, 10th, 11th grade. Yeah, the second time, like 10th, 11th grade. So I'm protective of her because I don't want to lose her again. And my mom will tell you, I don't play. Um, any boyfriend she had, they used to tell her, yo, your son had to talk with me. Yeah, I had to talk with them. I don't play that. We're not playing the handsy shit. You're not putting your hands on my mom. You're not doing none of that. She got enough nephews that will be here in a heartbeat. And I mean a heartbeat. Um, yeah, so luckily my mom didn't have no issues. We didn't have no problems with that. The Delaware niggas didn't have to come up to Philly and act the fool. um, we had some great times up there. Shout out to Uncle Bob. I miss him. Me, Deja, and a lot of the family got to connect with him when my mom got out of jail because that's where she was at. She was in Philadelphia, so um, she had to be in Philadelphia to get the release. So she ended up on my Uncle Bob, which was I don't even know how this shit worked. But Uncle Bob was a cool motherfucker. The coolest motherfucker you ever want to meet in the world. So at this, I'm still going through schooling and stuff like that. Um, my mom is doing good at this time. She ain't fighting the demons. She's going to work. She's paying child support. Man, my sister getting an extra couple dollars. Everything was going good. Always going good until she decided to come back to Delaware. Which is not to say it went bad when she decided to come back to Delaware. I'm not saying that. But she decided to come back to Delaware. She wasn't working as much, stuff like that. Um, my sister got pregnant with my niece, my first niece, Leah. My mom was right there with her. Her first grandchild. My mom was overly excited. You could see my mom being the mom that she wanted to be with us, with her. And it was, I mean, I didn't feel no type of way about it. I was happy because my mom was in a great headspace at the time. My mom was, everything was about that little girl. Um, even before she was even born. Um, I wish I'd have got this phone call that night, but if I did, I probably wouldn't be talking to y'all right now. I'd probably be in somebody's jail. But I'll never forget one of my friends, he got drunk and he pushed my sister while she was pregnant. And shout out to her baby dad and shout out to my mom. Cause they beat that motherfucker ass and threw him down a flight of steps. Like I said, I wish I'd have got the phone call that night, but they knew better than to call me because I'd be getting out of jail or still doing a lot of time in jail. But nah, my mom was that one. Uh so as I get older in life, call myself playing around in the streets a little bit. Um I run into some real people and they were talking to me one day and they was like, yo, I know you. And I'm like, man, you don't know me? He like, I know you, man. I know you. He like, who your dad? So I told him my dad, Dave, aka Shotgun, Gun. And then he's like, who your mom? I'm like, Stacy. I never really told my mom this story. Um, he like, Stacy, Stacy, Stacy. Concord Avenue. I'm like, yeah, it's my mom. Why, what's up? Like, because I'm getting defended now because you about to, like, don't say nothing stupid that's going to get you punched in your face. But he wasn't. He was, when he turned around and said, yo, your mom was the realest. And I'm like, what you mean by that? He was like, bro, your mom was, doing some things, when she got arrested. And your mom could have told on all of us and got out. But your mom did the time. She a real one. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I'm actually meeting the people that my mom was dealing with when she was going through that bullshit, got her locked up. Like, this shit crazy. Like, the world's small. Like, you never know who you can run into. And these motherfuckers I'm dealing with them selling weed and some other shit I was doing back in the day. And a nigga, like, this the nigga right here who was paying my mom to go to Jamaica and grab bricks and all that and bring them back to Delaware. Like, it was crazy. Like, and I met the nigga. Like, oh shit. Crazy, man. Like, crazy who you run into in when you in that type of life. And her being a stand up woman, they looked at me like I'm gonna be a stand up nigga, which I was with them niggas. And I got, you know what I mean? Whatever happened to him, happened to him. That was shit. I was fucking 21, 36 now. I don't know what happened to them niggas, but yeah, that's just crazy how life be lifing, man. How you can run into parallel with people and you don't even know that that person knows you. And that person knew me because of my mom, and I had the most up respect for my mom because of what she did. What she didn't do was snitch. Like, I'm like, oh shit. So that's just wild. That's just wild. Like, for real. But yeah. So and then, like I said, I'm going through my former years. I call myself dibble dabbling in the streets and shit. Um, my mom, she found out I was in the streets, um, selling weed. That's all I do. I ain't never do nothing else but sell weed. Somebody owed me money. I never forget this shit. Somebody owed me money. My mom, I'm at the kitchen table. I'm talking on the phone, but my mom is right there in front of me. Matter of fact, I just got my first tattoo, J.STREET tattooed on me and everything. I'm just showing her. She's like, oh my God, you got that too? My mom was like, she ain't really care for it, but she was just like, you do what you want. And she's like, so I'm on the phone, I'm arguing with the dude because the dude owed me like $100 and something, whatever. And my mom always knew I had a short temper. And she said, as I got the phone with the dude, whatever, she said, I don't want you in this life. And I'm like, what you mean, mom? I'm just, making a couple of hours, I ain't doing nothing. She said, but you're too hot tempered to be dealing with people because one, you too big, two, you hot tempered, and three, nobody's gonna fight you. And I'm like, what you mean? She's like, somebody gonna shoot you because you're too big. David, you're too big to be out here dealing with this, and I don't want this for you. So I listened to her, at this time, like I said, I'm 18, 19. I don't think I don't think I'm big shit. I do what the fuck I want to do. You know what I mean? And for the first time in almost 12, 13 years, my mom called my dad on me. Called my dad and told him what she heard and what she didn't want from me and stuff like that. Of course, my dad being my dad, it's about his son, so he gonna listen. He listened to her and stuff. And at this time, my mom knew my dad can get to me more than what she could. It's not that I didn't listen to her, just I had a closer relationship with my dad at this time, so she knew that if it went to him and he said something to me, I would take it in a little bit better than from her. Cause I'm looking at her like, shit, I just heard this story about you. Shit, you was bringing these bricks back. You know what I mean? I ain't messing with that shit. I'm just selling weed. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I didn't look at it like, hey, mom, shit, I know what you did. I talked to the nigga. Yeah. But, nah, so my mom actually called my dad on me. And them two had a conversation for the first time. And it was more of being concerned about me. Not going down that lifestyle, and she knows we can come out of it or, dead or in jail. So she didn't want that, of course, for her only son. So she called the person that she knew can get through to me. And to be honest, Pop talked to me for real, for real. We had a real conversation about the shit. But I ain't stopped selling drugs. I ain't stopped selling weed, bro. I kept selling that shit, bro. And out of respect for him, he told me a couple things. Don't bring the shit in his house. And don't bring drama to his front door. I never brought drama to his front door, and I didn't bring the shit into his house unless I was smoking it. Which he ended up knowing that too, because I used to smoke on the back porch. So with him and Snakebite, well, not Pop never smoked, but with Snakebite and Uncle Jimmy, them. Well, yeah. And then I just stopped one day cold turkey. Literally woke up one day and gave all my weed away, gave my scales. I just stopped selling weed. And when I think about it more and more, it was constantly because of my mom and the conversation I had with my dad. And I never wanted to ever look like a disappointment to my parents of doing something that I didn't have to do. Period. Because they raised me better than that. They never wanted that for me or my sister to do anything though. So I was always smart enough to ask God for guidance and show me a sign before trouble comes. And I don't know what it was, but I just literally woke up one day and called up my boys and called up people. And it's like, yo, you want this weed? Y'all want the scale? You want these baggies? I'm done. And they all looking at me like I'm crazy. But I was done. I never went back to selling drugs heavier again in my life like that ever again. And because I have a conscience. And when somebody prays upon them, praying that I do good and genuinely have that heart and for me to do something good and I know I'm doing something bad, I think about that a lot. And my mom was a prayer warrior. So I knew that, and I knew that she might have knew I was still doing things that she didn't care for. And my mom being the way she was, that I think that weighed on me a lot. So I stopped cold turkey. Cold turkey. Because of my mom. The woman who actually saved my life 3 times, because I told you, my dad paid for abortion 3 times to get rid of me. So I always have a special bond with her. Always will. That was just a little memory, going down memory lane of my childhood, talking about my parents and their relationship and how They raised me to become who I am. Stay tuned for part two of this stories that of me going through my childhood. Till then, I'm your boy Dave C.O. Coles, and this is J Street.